What happened to me shouldn't happen to anyone, but I'm glad it did. As I stood at LAX shaking with disbelief, I was about to experience firsthand the cruel irony of a world that still judges people by their appearance. The bustling terminal hummed with anticipation and anxiety, oblivious to the degrading moment about to unfold. Here I was, Dr. Eliza Monroe, a Black CEO poised for a critical board meeting, yet treated as if I were invisible. "Excuse me, ma'am, you need to step out of the first-class line," said Travis, the gate agent, eyes dismissive as he waved away my boarding pass like it was confetti. I felt a surge of frustration. How many times had I faced this kind of ignorance? The weight of my achievements felt heavy on my shoulders as the crowd murmured around us, a teenage girl gleefully live-streaming the humiliation. As anger simmered beneath my calm exterior, I resolved not to let this injustice define me. I pulled out my iPad, my corporate credentials shimmering like armor against ignorance. Slowly, the tide began to shift. Whispers echoed in the terminal as the pilot approached, confirming my identity. In that moment, I saw Travis falter, the realization dawning on him. With security parting from me, I strode to the gate, a mix of dignity and disbelief swelling within. I boarded the plane, not with triumph, but a firm commitment to redefining the narrative. Days later, Travis was forced to resign, the fallout igniting a movement within Delta Airlines to address bias head-on. They pledged $50 million toward diversity initiatives, a step toward a better future. I endured wasn't just a personal battle, it was a catalyst for change. As I reflect on that day, I find solace not in revenge, but in the shared purpose of fostering inclusivity, urging others to challenge perceptions as well. How would you respond in such a moment? "Excuse me, ma'am, but you'll need to step aside," Travis said, his voice dripping with authority. "First class is for ticketed passengers only." Dr. Eliza Monroe felt her palms sweat, confusion instantly morphing into a tightening knot in her stomach. "I have a first-class boarding pass," she replied calmly, holding it out. The crowd at LAX buzzed with whispers, the air thick with judgment. Travis barely glanced at the ticket, sneering instead. "I'm going to need you to wait in line like everyone else." He waved his hand dismissively as if she were a pesky fly. Eliza's heart raced. Behind her, a teenage girl pointed her phone at the scene, clearly live-streaming, capturing the indignity as more onlookers gathered. "Hey, leave her alone!" someone shouted, a hint of outrage piercing the tension. But Travis just laughed, a cold, sickly sound. "This is above your level. I can't let just anyone board." "Nation," Eliza took a deep breath. She slid her iPad from her bag, her corporate credentials glinting under the harsh, fluorescent lights. "I'm the CEO of Monroe Enterprises. I'm supposed to be on this flight for a crucial board meeting." At that moment, the pilot emerged, brows furrowed. "What's going on here?" Recognition dawned in his eyes. "Dr. Monroe?" Fox's mask of face flushed as murmurs rippled through the crowd surrounding them. The pilot turned hard on Travis. "You need to let her board, now." The crowd parted and Eliza stepped forward with her head held high, regaining her dignity. Behind her, the hum of an embarrassed Travis faded, replaced by a wave of support from those witnessing the injustice. As she settled into her seat, Eliza exhaled, not from triumph, but from exhaustion. It wasn't about revenge, it was about change. The airport buzzed with the usual chaos of travelers rushing to catch flights. But for Dr. Eliza Monroe, the weight of the world pressed down as she approached the gate. A seasoned CEO, she was clad in a well-fitted suit, her determination overshadowed by the tense energy enveloping her. She focused on the upcoming board meeting. It was pivotal for her company's future. As she stepped into the first-class line, her heart raced with anticipation, only to be interrupted abruptly by a dismissive voice. "Excuse me, ma'am, you need to leave this line," Travis, the gate agent, said, his disdain palpable as he snatched her boarding pass. "This is first class. You're in the wrong place." She felt her stomach drop, disbelief washing over her. Murmurs surged through the crowd, many glancing her way with a mix of shock and sympathy. A teenage girl stood with her phone raised, capturing the confrontation live, the weight of the moment suffocating. Clenching her fists, Dr. Monroe calmly presented her boarding pass again, her voice steady yet laced with frustration. "I am in the right line. This is my seat. Laughter erupted from Travis, mingling with the low whispers of onlookers. Yeah, right. You think you belong here? The mockery sliced deeply, provoking a flurry of emotions. This wasn't just about the flight. It laid bare the prejudices she continuously faced. A flicker of determination ignited within her. She retrieved her iPad, displaying her corporate credentials, feeling the room's energy shift. Suddenly, the pilot stepped in, affirming her identity and authority. Relief washed over her as security recognized the gravity of the situation, but the embers of shame still burned. As she boarded the flight, silence enveloped the terminal, a disquieting space filled with unspoken truths. The murmurs of disbelief from the crowd lingered as she secured a seat, realizing that she had reached a boiling point, one that would reshape not just her journey, but the narrative around her. Eliza Monroe stood at the front of the first-class line, a frown creasing her brow as gate agent Travis, clearly uninterested, waved her aside. That boarding pass won't work here, he sneered, dismissing her like a nuisance. Gasps rippled through the crowd, phones raised to capture the unfolding drama. Eliza Monroe, CEO of Monroe Innovations, she stated clearly, her voice steady despite the tumult within. She held up her boarding pass, the words echoing like a heartbeat in a quiet room. I am not going anywhere. A few murmurs of support began to rise around her, emboldening her spirit. Stabilized, Havis rolled his eyes, a flicker of arrogance still present. It was then she recognized the severity of her situation. An emergency board meeting awaited her, where crucial decisions were about to unfold. The realization sparked clarity in her mind. She took a careful breath and pulled out her iPad, the device exuding authority as she scrolled through her executive credentials. "To this what you need?" she asked, her tone calm but with an edge. Silence fell over the crowd, eyes darting between her and the gate agent. Some even leaned in, eager to witness the outcome. Just as Travis opened his mouth for another retort, the pilot approached, the authoritative figure shifting the energy in the air. "I can confirm her flight status," he asserted, looking straight at Dr. Monroe with respect. Relief washed over her, bolstering her confidence. As she walked toward the gate, a path cleared for her. The whispers shifted from disbelief at the confrontation to admiration. People began to nod, some raising their phones, from recording to supportive gestures. Dr. Monroe knew this was just the beginning. Her small victory sent ripples through the crowd, ready to spark discussions of dignity, resilience, and change. Dr. Eliza Monroe stood in the bustling LAX terminal, her heart pounding as she approached the first-class boarding gate. She was dressed impeccably, ready to represent her company at a crucial board meeting. Just as she reached the front of the line, Travis, the gate agent, stepped forward, blocking her path. "Excuse me, ma'am, you need to step back. This is for first-class passengers only," he stated dismissively, eyeing her with an air of superiority. A wave of confusion washed over Eliza as the onlookers murmured, phones snapping pictures, recording the moment. "But I have a first-class ticket," she replied, holding out her boarding pass. The gleam of disbelief in her eyes met with Travis's mocking smile. She felt the rush of humiliation, but fought back, her professionalism shining through. "Step aside, please," his voice rang out again, louder this time. The crowd shifted, some gasping while others silently cheered her on. A teenage girl began live streaming, her wide eyes capturing the injustice unfolding before her. With an even breath, Eliza retrieved her iPad. "Here's my corporate identification," she stated clearly, displaying the credentials that made her a force in the industry. "I am the CEO of Monroe Industries. I need to be on this flight." The tension hung thick in the air as Travis faltered, the color draining from his face. Before he could respond, the captain arrived, having caught wind of the commotion. "Is there a problem here?" he asked, his tone authoritative. Eliza's heart swelled with relief as the pilot's presence shifted the dynamics. The crowd shifted, whispers of disbelief rippling through the spectators. "Not anymore," the captain declared, addressing Travis. "Allow her to board." Eliza glided past the stunned gate agent, her dignity intact as she walked onto the jet bridge, the crowd parting for her like the Red Sea. Unrestricted the days that followed, Travis's termination was widely reported, his actions sparking outrage. Delta Airlines started a swath of initiatives, investing $50 million in diversity and inclusion programs. Eliza watched from afar, exhausted but fulfilled, not in revenge, but in the ripple effect of systemic change. As she reflected, she realized this wasn't just her triumph. It was a collective victory against prejudice, a step forward for countless others. She invited her audience to think about their own experiences, promising that the fight for justice took many forms, often quietly but fiercely. Round faded as Dr. Eliza Monroe settled into her seat on the plane, her heart still racing from the events that unfolded at LAX. The humiliation she had faced lingered, but with each passing moment, she felt a flicker of strength ignite within her. What had begun as a distressing confrontation had transformed into a powerful testament to dignity and perseverance. Reflecting on the moment when the pilot stepped in, Dr. Monroe understood that her fight was not just for herself, but a call to action for countless others who faced similar prejudice. In the aftermath, Travis's resignation became a catalyst, prompting not only institutional change at Delta, but igniting conversations about bias and discrimination across the industry. While the victory felt hollow amid the chaos, it was her resilience, not revenge, that carved a new path forward. But I'm left wondering, do you think I went too far? What would you have done in my shoes? Have you ever felt the sting of unjust treatment? I invite you to share your experiences. Let's engage in this conversation, weighing the balance of justice and power together. Your voice matters.